And I immediately am like, hey, I guess we're about halfway up. I don't want this, let's go down. So he's like, okay, I actually thought you might be scared, so I have an alternate way for us to look at the stars, but we have to walk through the woods. Usually, and before I get any comments about that, I know, okay, I know. The only reason why I went is because he was like, it's like a minute and a half in the woods. Perfect, a minute and a half, no worries. I shouldn't have listened to him because it was a 10-minute walk, if not more. It is so dark in those effing woods that you cannot even see your hand in front of your face. Woods, I'm doing fine. My other fear is the dark. Okay, I'm a full-grown woman. I am exponentially scared of the dark. Like, unrealistically scared. We're walking, we hit a fence, and not just any fence, a barbed wire fence. By this time, my eyes are fully adjusted in the dark, and out in the distance, I can see a barn. Right next to the barn, I see a big silo. If you don't know what a silo is, it's just this big metal structure that holds corn where I'm from. A lot of farmers have them. And I immediately ask him, is this someone's land? He doesn't really answer me, and I'm like, no, seriously, is this someone's land? Because I'm not going to get shot tonight. Because where I'm from, they're not going to ask you what you're doing on their land. They're just going to shoot you because they don't know who you are at midnight, 1 o'clock in the morning. Or I guess what you are. So finally he tells me it's someone's land, and I'm like, I'm not trespassing on someone's land. Like, no thanks. 3 strikes and you're out. I've walked through the woods. I have tried to conquer my fear of heights, and I'm walking in the dark. No. This is no. So finally he's like, okay, fine. Like, we'll go back to the car and I'll drive you home. As we're walking, I don't know what it was. The hair on the back of my neck suddenly stood up. I start to feel like someone is watching me. And all my girlies with anxiety like me, you know what I'm talking about. But this was different. This was different. This was like burning 2 holes in the back of my head because they're staring so hard. And it was so bad that I kept turning around and there was literally no one there. My eyes are fully adjusted at this point. There is no one there that I can see. And I start walking so close to this dude that I'm flat tiring his shoes, which means I'm like stepping on the back of his shoes every couple of steps, and he's getting super mad at me. But eventually I just grab his arm and I say, there is something out here with us. And I made sure to whisper it because at the end of the day, if there is a living human being out there, I don't want them knowing that I feel like something is wrong. And number 2, it was really quiet out there, like deafeningly silent. And he immediately tells me, like, Elena, it's okay, like, your anxiety, it's okay. I understand that you're scared of the dark, but everything's gonna be fine. Like, there's no one else out here. There's no other cars. Everything's gonna be fine. We take probably 3 steps and start to hear rustling. And immediately, this is when my breath literally is taken away. Like, I'm like, I can't breathe. And again, he's like rubbing my back, and he's like, it's okay. Like, there is seriously no one else out here. You're gonna be fine. We're walking for maybe a minute. We were flashlights out. From our right, a rock doesn't tumble out. It is thrown out into the middle of the path that we're walking. I mean, like, right in front of us. Like, someone threw it. This was a game time decision, right? Right. I left him in the woods. I ran so fast, I left him in the woods. I have never ran faster in my entire life. In all my running girlies, I ran for a minute. Sprinted for a minute. I get to his car and I'm trying the door handles, and I immediately am going through all these scenarios. I'm like, what am I gonna do if if there is a person in the woods? So I'm trying the door handles. I'm going to like literally every door, and all of them are locked. And all of a sudden I hear him giggling and like jogging out of the forest, and he was like, that rabbit really scared me. A rabbit? And I probably look disgusting at this point, but I legitimately lost my mind on him. I was like, since when do rabbits pick up rocks and throw them at people? Since when has that ever happened? But anyways, we get in the car, we drive off. The whole time I'm asking him, what do you think that was? What do you think that was? Do you think that was a real person? Do you think that was a ghost? What was that? And I don't think he took me very seriously at the time because he was like, whatever. Needless to say, I never talked to him ever again. And now I will elaborate on why it's so scary to me. I don't think that was paranormal by any means. Because when you experience something paranormal, it's almost like an instantaneous thought, right? You're trying to rationalize. You're trying to go through the scenarios in your head on how it is possible that that happened. This was different. I have never felt so fearful in my entire life. And let me ask you this. When you get home late at night, maybe after a night out, or when you get home from work, school, etc., what do you think you're going to see when you turn the light on in your room? Probably some decor, probably your bed, your desk, maybe a pet lives there, I don't know. But you anticipate on what you're going to see because you're prepared for what you're going to see. I'm not comparing bedrooms in the woods, but I was not anticipating someone else to be out there because there's no cars out there. There was no way for someone to get out there if they didn't get there before the sun went down, if you catch my drift. And I think there's something, at the end of the day, there is something so deeply frightening about knowing someone was watching you the whole time. And there is something equally as frightening knowing you never saw them. And then you have to think about a plethora of things. Like, why was that person following two teenagers in the woods without making their presence known? How did that person get out into the middle of the woods in the middle of the night? I left a key part of the effing story out. When we got there, we got our little pass. The state trooper or whoever was working there told us that we were the last people going in. So be that as you may, moral of the story, you never know.
Targets in sight!
Hostile sentry gun in your AO.
These are easily go ahead and exit right now. When my grandmother was in hospice, she hospiced under the care of my aunt in this home. As it got closer to the end, my grandma would kind of swat and be like, do you see them? Do you see them? They're just flying all around me, flying all around me. They would also say that she sees a man in the corner. One day my mother was in the bathroom doing her hair and my aunt was going to the store. While my mom was in the bathroom doing her hair, she felt a huge gust of wind as like somebody was like walking by and walking through our hallway, and there was a fast starting my mom, and she was yeah, she's like, Pat, is that you? And it wasn't my aunt. And then it happened again, and she sees somebody like walking by, and my mom was like, what the heck is going on? My mom just gets this really weird feeling, and she goes into my grandma's room, and she's like, okay, and my grandma was like, did you see him? And my mom was like, yeah, Mom, I saw him. He starts speaking to it. He starts like, I think I know who you are, but we're not ready for her to go. And my mom said that it was a cloaked figure, like a pale cloaked figure with like a button-up shirt with a high collar, like a high collar up to here, ruffles on his sleeves, and like a hat that Abraham Lincoln used to wear, like a top hat, like a few days back. My grandma is watching Judge Judy, because that's what my grandma loved, Judge Judy. And my mom was in there, and Judge Judy had just gone off, and my mom goes in there, and she's like, ask my grandma if she wants to watch the Today Show now, because last night in the Pips are going to be and my mom has her back turned.
I suck on this one. I suck.
Back here laying down, and my mom says, she's like, hey Mom, do you want to watch the Today Show? Gladys Knight and the Pips are on. And my grandma said, no, he's here.
Contact with enemy!
My mom says, who's here?
Smoke out!
And my mom turned around, my grandma, like my grandma said, she was
Reloading! Cover me!
she said, no, he's here. And she was gone. It was the angel of death. Angel of death came and took her soul. Yeah, he's here.
Targets in sight!
Hardpoint identified. Capture the objective. Enemy UAV spotted.
What is happening? I'm really bad right now.
With me, or had been in my house, like growing up, could tell
extremely old, and very
Hardpoint locked down.
and yes, I'm doing it in my closet because those are my clothes. But stitching this video, there is something that I think about
Enemy
that
contact.
still gives me the absolute heebie-jeebies.
Tango down.
And it's not really something I talked about with other people, other than like my mom.
XS-1
When I was younger, I think I moved into that house when I was like 7 or 8.
Enemy
And
XS-1
between third,
Goliath
fourth, and
is
fifth
landing.
grade,
Hostile sentry gun
I
in area.
had not been
Stay down.
that I called Mr. Alexander that I talked to all the time. He asked me how I was schooling. I would tell him. He asked me how practice went. I think I was playing soccer for like Tri-Township at that time.
Be advised, hostile stealth chopper
I would
inbound.
tell him about my soccer practice. I don't remember a lot of our conversations, but the ones that I do
Target
remember
down.
or stuff like that. And my mom worked at a nursing home and she just generally believed that sometimes she would pass on that they would come and visit me. And I was just very like, well, they would
Reloading.
I was insensitive to stuff like that. I would see them, talk to them, etc. I don't remember a lot of it. I don't remember discussing it with my sister, my brothers, like none of that. Well, Mr. Alexander went away my whole childhood. Like, I did not, when I was like transitioned, I think out of elementary school and like into middle school and stuff. And you can sit here and think I'm crazy. That's fine. Like, I'm okay with that. I didn't see or talk to him or even remember him. Like, I did not think about him until I was about 16 or 17. My aunt had come to visit us and she was going to stay the night. My aunt is, and anybody that knows her, and just by describing her, you'll know which aunt I'm talking about. The most down-to-earth, humble person. Smokes a little weed once in a while. Like, she is definitely definition of the cool aunt. She's just a great human being. And she's never really been mad at me. I think one time I can think of her being mad at me, and this is the other time that I'm about to talk about 6:30, 7 o'clock.